Hey there, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I want to talk about whether the property price will drop in 2025. Now if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell button, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. This way YouTube will notify you whenever I post a video. Alright, so if you like the videos, send it to your friends, let them also understand about the property market that is happening here in Singapore. Okay, so now let's go to the fundamentals of the property market here in Singapore. Okay, so I think if you have been watching some of my other videos, you will know that I always want to do a price comparison in the past and in the present. Okay, why? Because we then know what is being sold at this point of time, what's upcoming in the future, what had happened in the past, what we are seeing in the current property market, right? So see, when price is being sold, you know, let's look at the most recent, right? In Tengah is being sold at 821, right? This is for a residential with first story commercial, right? And then in Dairy Farm residential, this is condo, it is sold at 1020. Okay, in Faber Walk sold at 900. In Thomson View, right, this is slightly different, this is not GLS, this is M Block, this is sold at 1178. All right, and this residential in Tampines GLS, right, 768. If I'm not wrong, this is actually an EC. There may be a typo, right? There's another one very close by, and that is a mixed development, okay? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is also a condo, right? Certain areas, right, not awarded because somehow it's just too low, right? So, and this is what had happened over the past like 6 months, okay? And if we were to scroll down further, let's just go to a random, right, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay, so let's start scrolling. Right, so you see, right, certain areas, I mean, it depends on the region, depends on the area as well. Certain area, they are already sold at a certain price, right? All this that you're seeing is in like RCR area, right? Okay, we have something in Sumang Walk in Punggol, right? Basically going at 583. This is an easy, right? River Valley already going at 1.4. So do some price comparison. Anyways, the data is out there for you to take a look, for you to see what's happening, right? And then let's look at in the past, what happened when prices drop. Okay, so let's go back in history, right? If you remember what happened back then, you will understand why the dip, why this kind of chart pattern is happening. So in 1995, 1996, it was going up, right? And then 1997, if you remember, it's the Asian financial crisis. So back then, especially in Hong Kong, right, things are happening. It's like global crisis, but Asian version. All right, so everything just starts to collapse. And until 1998, 1999, it starts to recover. Okay, then what happened? We see that it's recovering, right? But then in 2000 comes the dot-com bubble. Okay, then people panic again, then people start to sell the market, sell the property. And it took very long during this period because during this time, a few things happening, right? 911, some other financial crisis, and it lasted quite a while before it picked up again. Okay, and then 2007, right? This is when another crisis happened, right? Then we see the dip, right? And then we start to see the climb again, all the way until 2013, right? Then we have different types of cooling measures coming in, right? And then we see this very stagnant, right, since 2013 all the way, right, before it started to pick up again. So you see, when things happen in a great scale, right, something like that, it will cause the market to panic. It will cause people to sell because of uncertainty. Okay, so this is the very fundamental of what is happening in Singapore. If you're expecting the price, right, to drop, something big enough must happen. So if you think you may be spared from all those things, right? I mean, good for you lah, because that's not going to affect you too much if you have, cash reserve, if you have everything ready. But for most people, right, we are going to be affected. The entire market is going to be affected. People will be panicking and selling, and it's not just property. Even in the stocks market, right now, crypto, also, people will panic, people will sell, right? So right now we are at a stage where it keeps rising, right? For it to drop, maybe you'll need something like, a cooling measure, right? But for now, because the GE is coming, right, we will definitely have to wait until that pass before they will start to do something, right? Because knowing how things work, GE comes first lah. Then later on, the rest of the things. So if there's no crisis coming, anything in sight, big, most of the time it's black swan event. You wouldn't know when it's coming. So if you're hoping, praying for that to happen, I hope not, because the whole world is going to suffer. You don't want to just because of you want to buy a property, then you hope and pray for that kind of thing to happen, right? In the fundamental, in the big gist of everything, you want something to be stable. Why? Because you don't want to buy, right? And then later on, things happen, right? Then what's going to happen to your property? So in a very stable economy, in a long term, you want things to go and move slowly, especially in property. You don't want this kind of curve, where people have to step in to do something, right? But if you look at it in a longer term, this kind of growth is relatively healthy, right? Because we, as a nation, is growing fast. People's income are also increasing to have this kind of growth. So you got to think of it in a bigger spectrum. Don't just think of it from your perspective, because from your perspective versus the entire global market, it's going to be quite minute. So just keep an eye on bigger things, right? And you see, when there is the buying and selling of things, there are market, right? Developers will price it competitively and sometimes look at the past transactions of the market to have the sentiment of what is happening, right? For example, in November 2024, we see a spike in sales for new launches. Why? Because there's demand. There are demands for all this area that is happening. And back then, basically, there were 6 launches. It's in the east, it's in the west, it's in the central, it's in the north, everywhere. So with the demands out there, you definitely will see a spike. Then it sets a pillar, it sets a benchmark for developers who are releasing new launches in upcoming months, right? So in Q1, which is current, and because developers see that, hey, last few months, they are actually doing quite well, why not we price it similar or slightly higher than them and test the market to see how the market react, right? So that is how it forms that kind of uptrend in the market, right? Let me just give you another example. Okay, just an example only. So I'm using gold as an example so that you know what is happening, right? Basically, things like that happen in the market, right? When there are too much supply and nobody is going to buy at the top, right? And those people still want to sell, they will sell at a lower price. And then usually follows the trend, right? Because nobody wants to buy already. Then it starts to drop. Until people start to want to buy, right? Maybe they have a price range that they are looking at. Then the price will increase again. So then when it hits a price where nobody wants to buy, people want to sell. And then this repeats again, right? So you will see usually when it hits a certain price, people will have some sort of reaction. So coming back to property, right? Even if we use very similar ideas behind it, when developers are selling at maybe this price, right? People are still buying, people are still buying, and people are still buying. So then when new launches come, the developers will think that, hey, at this price, still got people buy. Then why not I price it slightly higher? Then if still got people buy, then okay lor. Then continue to buy, continue to buy, continue to buy. See, the reason is because there's demand, right? Demand in the market is strong. We see it in Parktown, we see it in Alta, we see it in Aurea, Toa Payoh. You can't say that there's no demand, right? Because the numbers are there. It's basically facts. You cannot say there's no demand. When there's no demand, it will be like, 20%, 10%, that kind of sale. Then developers will start to need to re-strategize and think, okay, maybe we need to drop the price because this kind of pricing is too high. Then maybe the stock will start to move. So this is very normal and very natural in a market when there's buying and selling. We are looking at new launches, we're looking at new homes. Even if you look at resale property market, it's the same thing, right? For example, somebody wants to sell their home around the area, and when there's demand, people will start to price it at a higher level. People will start to price it at another higher level. That's why we always see new time high. Certain areas when there's nobody buying, really nobody, they will think of, depending if urgent, sometimes they will drop the price, right? Then somebody will buy. So whether it's resale, whether it's new launch, you see this kind of concept runs in us human, right? So whether it's us human, whether a retailer buying, or whether it's developer, this kind of buy and sell will happen and price properly, competitively for growth. Okay, so it's a game of demand and supply, basically, right? So right now, supply is considered not very high, but there is a lot of demand. Why? People want to upgrade, people hit their MOP, people also want to earn money, so things like that will happen. So when you have this kind of demand coming in, you will see the rise in the price, right? So, and we always talk about, getting in early before you get priced out, because you never know whether it's going to come back down like that. Like I said earlier, unless a global crisis happen, which we all don't want, right? And so with this, I know it's just a few simple charts to talk about things, right? And maybe some numbers to show you, but you need to understand that we currently are at quite a healthy growth. In relativity, in general, healthy, right? We have demand, we have enough supply. Fundamentals, you gotta get it right. Next thing, or something that you don't always hear people mention, but I want to put it at the back of your mind again. Reason is very simple. Now, you may have heard it somewhere, but I'm just going to repeat again because this may have slipped your mind. Apart from local demands, there are also so-called foreign demands, but it will also turn into local demands. Why? Because Singapore wants to increase our population to 6.9. Okay, that difference is basically near another million of population. Think about the number of launches, the new launch, right, that you see. It's only in the thousands. How is it going to fuel that 1 million, right? Even if you divide this into 3%, right, into one house, that's 333,000. There's just not much, not fast enough to replenish this kind of thing. So this is another fundamental. Why? Because there's always demand. Apart from local one, there's also upcoming one, incoming one, which will drive the economy, which will stable and bring up the property price. So if you really want to dip, you have to understand all these fundamentals first. When there's no demand, basically means population will drop drastically. People leaving Singapore, birth rate is something else lah, huh? But we have incoming people to come and join us to make up the population, right? So bear this in mind. These are just basic fundamentals. So once you understand this, if nothing of all these fundamentals, namely population, demand, no global crisis, or no crisis at all, then how is the market going to dip? It's almost not possible, right? The only way man-made, right, locally, is by cooling measures. Then you see people not wanting to buy because I don't know what's gonna come up lah. But if that happens, we will then see a slowing down. That's basically it. But the fundamentals is still there. Okay. So I hope this video clarifies. If you are looking for the price to crash, the market to crash, drastic things needs to happen, and we want the entire place to grow together as well, because then you not only need to take care of yourself, your family, your loved ones, and also your children, your grandchildren, because here in Singapore everything is stable, it's clean, people likes this place, and we continue to develop and we continue to grow, and that's also in line with what the government is trying to do, right? So right, I hope you understand the fundamentals first, right? I hope this video helps. If you find it helpful, do give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Okay, I really appreciate that. And if you think this is helpful, your friends are looking at property, discussing that whether the price will drop, send this over to them so that they can better understand and expect or set realistic expectation of the property price in Singapore, right? And also don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to follow, don't forget to like, so that when I release a new video, YouTube will then notify you. Okay, and I will see you again very soon in my next video. Keep in touch, take care, bye bye.